Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I fired a total shots of $70,000. And why did I do it? Today I will explain my rationale, and more importantly, more shots are likely to be fired. So watch this space very closely as I walk you through my thinking. So yesterday I did a live stream and I fired a total of $70,000. During the live stream itself, I actually explained what I fired and why I fired, and more importantly, what positions did I take and things like that. So you certainly don't want to miss the next one. So remember, hit subscribe and the notification bell so that you won't miss my next firing position. But more importantly, let me explain to you what my thinking process is. As usual, these are for education and information only, not financial advice. And I need to emphasize that these positions I've taken are high risk and only suitable for me. Not telling you to buy or sell, but let's go. So Donald Trump has proposed a 80% China tariffs ahead of the trade talk that's happening probably right now as we speak during the recording. So after recording, things might change. But certainly is a likelihood of de-escalation of a certain large magnitude. So it's very clear to me right now that Trump wants to de-escalate as much as he has escalated tremendously with China and the rest of the world. So let's be very clear. There is a difference between other trade wars and this trade war. Trump started the trade war because he wanted to end all tariff wars. Now, what do you mean by that? First of all, let me explain. Trump started a trade war because a lot of countries have imposed a lot of trade barriers against the US, making it difficult for US to import into these countries. So he basically started this trade war in an attempt to end all tariff and all trade barriers. Now, before you all start thinking, hey, Mr. Lu, you start flip-flopping your opinion again. No, I've never. I don't like this guy, okay? Now, he may look insane at times. He may behave insane, but he's insanely brilliant, right? So everybody hates him, but the truth of the matter is that what he has done has caused a lot of countries to lower their trade barriers. So Trump, in his brilliant move against the UK, has basically lowered all the trade barriers that UK had put up against the US. On the other hand, UK now suffers a 10% increase in all exports into US. He has clearly won this battle, right? So this is example. This is an example of how Trump uses tariff and lower the tariffs and trade barriers of other countries. So this is round one. Now, of course, there are many other countries to fight, and basically, I think that we're going to see much more of such cases. UK will now reduce tariffs on US imports. Number one, they will eliminate the existing 20% tariff on US beef with a quota of 1,000 metric tons and establish a new quota, duty-free quota of 13,000 metric tons for US beef imports. So one barrier came down. Ethanol. The UK will remove 19% tariff on all US ethanol. Okay, and agriculture products are now open. The US agriculture products can enter into UK, including fruits, vegetable, animal feeds, and shellfish. Industrial products tariff will be reduced or eliminated on various US industrial exports such as chemicals, textile, and machinery. So basically, massive amount of trade barriers were lowered. On the other hand, US have a 10% increase in the fees, right? So I think that's quite significant. So basically, the White House says that Trump's baseline tariff of 10% is here to stay. The 10% tariff will not change, right? So this is another brilliant move of Donald Trump. He imposed 10%, get everybody uncomfortable. Then he imposed massive amount, okay? And then now he gradually reduced back to 10. Everybody thought they have a relief, but he forgot that he basically increased 10% tariff from everybody. So everybody thanked him for reducing it to 10, okay? Now, what does this 10% will bring to US? Well, just calculate, right? In 2024, US import a total of $4.1 trillion of goods and services. and it totally total amount of 4.1 trillion was 2024. 2023 was 3.83 trillion. So let's assume it's 3 trillion, and a 10% tariff on it will simply means $300 billion, right? These $300 billion will go and help in offsetting some of the massive budget deficit that US government have. So pretty brilliant. But what really matters are not these kuching kurat small little countries. What really matters is China. So right now, China and US are starting to talk. My guess is they are here to talk trade war ceasefire, not peace talk, meaning that they're only talking about how to stop firing, how to stop being angry at each other. They haven't come to peace agreement yet. Meanwhile, why is Donald Trump concerned? Very clear. Currently, right now, 0 ships from China are bound for California top ports. Officials haven't seen this since the pandemic. So on Friday morning, West Coast port official told CNN that not a single cargo vessel has left China with goods for the two major West Coast port for the last 12 hours. This hasn't happened since the pandemic. 6 days ago, 41 vessels were scheduled to depart China for San Pedro Bay complex, which encompasses both Port of Los Angeles and Port of Long Beach. On Friday, it was zero, zero. So meanwhile, while we are all looking at the trade talks that are going to happen, the port has basically have no more imports coming in. That's pretty serious, for US. So of course, China knows that as well. So right now they are going to talks. My guess is China knows that they have bargaining position, and they will play hardball. So there are many scenarios that can happen out of these talks, but at this juncture, everybody knows that it's just an exploratory high-level talks, and tariff might go down to a double digit, maybe a medium to high double digit, but most likely, will not have anything more than that. So right now, US and China are preparing for icebreaker trade talks. Icebreaker, that's a nice word to say, where the stakes are high and the outcome could reset the future of economic relations between the world's two largest economy. So everybody knows that nothing comprehensive will come out of this meeting, but at least a partial rollback is better than nothing. And both sides seeks to de-escalate, in the short term, unlikely, big recovery of the situation will ever happen. The current situation right now is US on one hand has poor economic numbers, but China released trade data showing that export has grown 8.1%. Okay. Some people say this figure may not be reliable whatsoever, but regardless, they issue it. So it's a signal to US government, I don't need you. I'm still okay with my exports, right? So nobody knows whether this number is accurate or not. So meanwhile, China Commerce Ministry also start clamping down of illegal smuggling of strategic minerals. They are going out to obviously to US because of the trade barriers that because trade barriers that China has put up against US. So this is actually an Achilles heel of US. So the sharpest arrow that China has in its quiver will be to restrict US access to critical minerals that can't be easily get elsewhere, right? So this point is really quite serious. There are other things that China could do to US, including trim some of its $800 billion stockpile of US Treasury. But that move could actually hurt China. So Beijing will have to be very careful. Well, they are just trying to hope to de-escalate. So key thing is de-escalating, bringing those rates down to where they could or where they should be will be Scott Bessent's goal, said Secretary Commerce Lutnick. Okay, so I think that is something that they're all working towards too. And comprehensive deal is really unlikely. Hopefully, China will offer some sweetener. US offers some sweetener. China offers sweetener like basically, settle something to do with the fentanyl, fentanyl crackdown, they need to step up on it. Now, what could happen? Some handshake could happen, or walk out of the meeting could happen as well. So anything could happen. So we are all waiting for thing. Upon this time of recording, nothing has been announced yet. But if something happen, we'll be first to know. So right now, the major conclusion is this: Trump is aggressively de-escalating. He knows the impact to his country. He's just pretending to be irrational. He's just using poison to fight poison, right? So this is Trump in his usual, fight. Remember this photo where he was shot in his ear? He's in Chinese, we call it 以毒攻毒. He uses tariff to bring down tariffs. That's what his intention is. He's not trying to do anything more than what we are thinking of. So what's my take on this whole thing? Trump seeks to fight evil with evil, tariff with tariff. And unlike other tariffs historically that we've seen, this is not a protectionistic move. That means they are imposing on this tariff not to protect their local industry. Maybe a bit of it is, but largely is not. Largely is to bring down other people's tariff. Now, unfortunately, by doing that, world economy, including US one, will surely be hit. But that's what he says. Long term, it might prove to be better for US. I think so as well. But the short term pain is terrible. But if he really de-escalate from now on, I think the worst of the stock market volatility might be over. So in that sense, that's the reason why I think it's time for me to move back the funds from the leveraged one that I exited to an unleveraged position. So there were funds that I invested in. They are leveraged. They are of 2 to 3 or 4 times leverage or even higher. I moved them now into unleveraged position in the usual boring, world globally diversified index that I always do. So that's what I have done yesterday, and I seek to do more. So monitor my alerts closely, because I will do the same thing again. I will turn on my live stream, tell everybody what I'm doing, and after that, delete the video because I cannot keep those videos. So hit subscribe and hit the alert button so that you'll get notified real time. And don't expect me to keep those videos because they're market sensitive. And I'll see you when those days happen. Okay, bye bye.